Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday Effect, where we talk to people about their passions and the effect it has on the world. I am your host, your girl Thursdays, Angel. I have with us this evening Donald Boyd, who's running for councilman of Ward 8. So can you tell us a little bit about where Ward 8 is located?
Well, Ward 8 is north and south Collinwood, from 124th and St. Clair to 185th and Lakeshore.
Okay.
We're the back end of Lakeshore.
Back end of Lakeshore area. Okay. And what does a councilman do? Like, what what job titles?
Well, the councilman, actually the job title is supposed to be the middleman between the community and the local government.
Okay.
So the councilman supposed to write legislation for the city.
Okay.
And that's basically it.
When you say write legislation for the city, what type of legislations do they put in play? If you can give us an example.
Well, like Blaine, he got the lead legislation right now. They're doing the lead thing real big. So just things like that things that help the community, like it'd be like a housing thing or community police, anything that a councilman feel that it can help the city of Cleveland.
Okay. So it's a broad.
Yeah, it's a broad
about
thing.
the things that you can do.
It's
Okay.
not just for the community. You know, like there's 17 council members, so that's the job they supposed to
Okay.
write legislation to help the city, and then
Okay.
they vote on them, and then we put them into play.
All right. So let's break it down and make it clear for the people. You got the mayor, and then you have the mayor's soldiers, right?
Yeah.
And that would be the councilman. Kinda, sorta.
Kinda.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
you got the mayor and you got 17 councilmen that handle 17 different wards in the city of Cleveland.
Yes.
Okay. So, and your ward is Ward 8.
Yes.
All right. Why do you want to be a councilman? What drives you to do that?
I just want to change my community. I just think that I have positioned myself in the place where I'm able to change the community in a great way, and I think it's time.
Okay. You said you're able to change your community. Why do you feel like you're called to change your community? Like, why do you even want to do it? Why?
Because I'm from the community, and I have 3 kids, little kids, so I'm not leaving the community. So I plan on being there for a long time. So I just want to see the kids grow up and be cool with just living in Collinwood. Like, I don't want to have to move and go to the suburbs for better schools or to be safe or anything. I want to be able to create that space within the community.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So did you grow up in Collinwood?
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's kind of because what happens is they do these realignments. So, the census just came in, so they be another realignment. So it was Ward 10, then they cut it up in Ward 8, so I kind of grew up in both communities.
Okay.
So
That's your backyard, pretty much.
Yeah,
that whole,
right, Collinwood, yeah.
Yeah, and you're very passionate about just seeing it to be a continuous, beautiful place to grow up to be, and for your children.
Yes, we're on the lake. I mean, we just use
It's
that.
beautiful, right? That's a beautiful place to, be able to connect with the water. So I get it. So who's currently councilman there now?
It's a man named Mike Polenzek.
Mike Polenzek. How long has he been councilman?
43 years.
He's been there. Come again? Rewind that back for the
43
people.
years. 43 years.
He's been there 40. So he's been there longer than some people have even been alive.
Yeah, my life. He's been longer than I'm 40 years old, so he's been there my whole life.
How is that possible?
Honestly, he has created a dictatorship almost. I think I say our community is like a modern day colonialism.
Okay.
We have a dictator, he runs everything. So
Yeah.
he's been strategically throughout the years setting things up for him to stay in office. Like everything he's been doing is for him to stay in office, not to help the community. So, for instance, like every time he go on TV, he says, Collinwood, the savage criminals and thugs, they're tearing the community up. They're savages. We need to get rid of these people. But actually, that's bad optics. He's scaring the people away. So every time he go on TV, he's talking bad about Collinwood. The people don't want to come to the community.
To live.
But when you look at the numbers, the crime, like we're a safe community over there. So it's not like it's like a thing.
Propaganda.
He know that if the more people come to your community and move, he would have been out of here a long time ago. So it's just like, and then we have it's a north and south Collinwood. It's a racial divide.
Okay.
So to be honest with you, most of his supporters just going to vote for him because who we are, because they look like him, basically.
Because they look like him.
And black people just don't vote. Like, we have 15,000 residents. City council race last time was only 3,200 votes.
Wow.
So people just not voting. That's what it basically boiled down to.
Why don't you think that black people or melanated people vote?
They just disengage. They don't understand they don't think the process really helps them out. You know, they look at, see Trump and they look at things on a bigger level, but don't understand the local. That's where it really affects your everyday life. So that's where they just don't know or been taught, things like that. Like when I grew up, we had city council, things like that in school that we was able to do. Like they
Right.
took all that out of school.
Yeah.
So, so things like that, it just disengaged the community of what's really going on in the inner city.
In the inner city, yeah, absolutely. So he's been in office for 43 years, and it's time for a new day.
Yeah.
Donald Boyd.
Yes.
So, this is your first time running?
No, it's my second time. Right?
Second time running. All right, tell us a little bit about your experience the first time you ran for councilman.
Well, the first time it was a good experience. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the politics was this dirty. It's
Yeah.
It's kind of like almost like it's almost like high school.
Yeah.
Almost a little bit like a
Yeah.
grown up high school type of thing.
Who's
but,
popular type, yeah.
Yeah, but it was weird. It was the first time I received death threats.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got death threats?
Yeah. On a regular basis. It's like it's nothing new now. I'm kind of like we're used to it now.
You're numb.
Yeah.
What kind of things were they saying?
Why would you want to change the community? You ain't from the community. This an Irish community. This a Jewish community.
Wow.
Bringing up Danny Green. Just.
Who's Danny Green?
He's an old Irish gangster from the community that.
Oh.
That was. They made a movie about.
Okay.
So he's like a staple in that community, but they blew his car. I mean, he got blew up in '77. So it's like, wow, like what are we still holding on to?
Wow.
And they actually have a mural that commemorates him in the community. That
Wow.
I hate so much. It's like, who has a mural that commemorates a gangster?
A gangster.
A killer. So like that's the thing. So that's another scary thing. It's like optics for the black people who know
The history. Yeah.
When they see that, it's a slap in the face. Because we all know he didn't like black people or Italians.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where we come from.
Yeah. Just a very, very culturally divided community, it sounds like.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
What are some of the things you think you can do to get the melanated people or the black people to vote in this upcoming election? And when is the next upcoming election?
In November of 2021.
November 2021. Okay.
So my thing is just to get them to know that, engage them with local politics. Just when I go knock on doors now, I'm just trying to break down the precinct community people, just like the basic steps of our local government and what we need to do as a people, like voting on school levies and things like that. Most of the people in the community have no clue of what that actually means or what they be really voting for or what the issue 22, the issue 23. Like they just see the signs
And
but
check
they
and
never,
mark, just
right,
check mark type
right.
thing, just to say they did their due diligence.
So
I've
been trying to come with people with a card or a platform and let them show that they can see, that you really got to get engaged with local politics. You really this is what we need in our city. Like, yeah, the president's cool,
Yeah.
but it's so that trickle down effect is not like this right here, because these are the judges and the people that we put in their positions that's gonna be taking care of our kids and
Right.
gonna be sentencing people in our community. So
Sentencing.
you would want to know who these people are.
Yeah.
And then even with I did a study on judges. So I was going to different courtrooms. I was just trying to figure out how did they interact with just not black people, all people. So I found out that judges actually treat you different when they see you're a registered voter.
Really?
Yeah, because what happens is if I'm a registered voter and you treat me badly, I could not vote for you, or I can put up a platform, a movement to have more people not vote for you. So you would treat me different than a person that don't look at the voter list, or he ain't never
Yeah.
voted. So I can just do him any type of way because he can't affect my bottom
Exactly.
line. So yeah, they play all.
Your voice counts. He can't affect me, so I can do whatever I want to do with him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
And a lot of us don't know about that
No, you don't
on that
know.
level.
Yeah, you don't know that they check the voting record and they know that, okay, let me treat Donald a little different because he's been voting for the past 10 years. So I know that can check my name in the box. I know he
Exactly.
can't, but look at my.
He can hold me accountable. He or she can hold me accountable.
Yeah, so
That's what about.
So look, if I know that I never voted, I'm gonna do the way I want to. That's just how I go. That's just like the nitty gritty of Cleveland, But I'm gonna say Cleveland. It's everywhere basically. It just where we at. It just
Yeah.
they just don't want to say it.
So I heard you say something about crime. How do you think you're able to reduce crime in the city without it affecting us? Because usually when you reduce crime, that means that
More police.
and the trajectory we have right now with us in policing. So
I think we should get back to community policing. Actually,
okay,
I think that's the best option for us. I mean, right now the numbers say that. I mean, it's more guns than people in America. So we actually do have enough guns in the community to police ourselves.
Right.
So it's like, you know, it's like the over policing with me. But actually, the bigger picture is the legislation, because I think a problem would be solved if we could create legislation that say, you know, you have to live in the community, the police in this community. That would change a lot of things.
Yeah.
To me personally,
Yeah.
because now it's a different connection.
It's
like, you
not
know,
a
so
disconnect.
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna run into you at the store. I'm gonna see you at the school with the kids. Like, it's just like I'm not coming from Solon down to St. Clair and going back home every night.
Exactly.
So they trying to get cops to care about two communities, and that's just not gonna happen.
It's your heart. There's no heart in it. There's
Yeah.
no heart in it. And I
Yeah.
think what happens too is that a lot of these cops, they just can't identify with us, and the only images they see of us, the roles we're playing, is almost a fearful world.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
so even when you look at certain Hispanics, they're always playing gangsters or
Yeah.
and so when you see them, your mind's automatically going to associate that with a crime.
Yeah.
And so you're going to go into panic mode. But when usually when we see our own people, and we grew up in that neighborhood, we know, oh, that's this. If Billy Bob is on the corner of the street and he doing jangling, because that's what this Billy Bob do every
Right.
week,
Yeah.
we're not going to say, okay, let me handcuff you because you're disturbing the peace. That's just Billy Bob.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and so it's a different type of heart in it when you
Yeah,
connect with the
it's-
neighborhood.
I mean, the study says, like, if you look at any study, they say, like, you know, if a Caucasian officer engaged with a Caucasian man, young man, he's going to treat him because he look at him like, that could be my nephew, my
Right.
cousin. That's the type of feeling he's going to have for
Right.
him, because he look like. But
Yeah.
when Bobby don't look like you, they don't have that connection. Like, well, maybe that could be my cousin. Maybe that
Exactly.
could be. They don't have that type of connection. They just think we the enemy, and just over policing our community.
Over-policing.
Yeah, just stay in your own community. We stay in our own community, and we can. There's enough police, even the Caucasians. It's Caucasian in our communities. The police officers, they can come to our community too. They don't have to go to different
Yeah.
communities. Just police where you live at.
So
know,
are
be
you
real
for
fine.
segregation? Do you think that we as a people be better in a more segregated environment?
I wouldn't say segregated. I think us as the people, we need to learn how to be unapologetically black. As far as like, we can create our own spaces. Like, you know, it's nothing wrong. Like, we have a Chinatown.
Exactly.
We have all these
Little
different,
Italy,
you know,
little
Italy,
everything,
things.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having, a black town.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Or a black
Nothing.
little. There's nothing wrong with creating these different spaces just for
cultures.
us. Like, it's nothing wrong for us to think about us first.
Yes.
Like, I love all people.
I
don't
get
say,
it.
I have people on my campaign that's Asian, Caucasian.
Absolutely.
I don't see the color issue with people, but
Yeah, I get
they
it.
do. You know what I mean?
I was having a conversation with another young lady, and she was telling me, you know, why does race matter? And I was saying the reason why it matters is because everyone's feeding their cause. Everyone's feeding their culture. Everyone's feeding their race. We keep trying to feed everyone else and feed us.
Yeah.
Well, they're being double fed, and our community, our children, our people, we're getting half of feedings because they're taking care of their own. So as much as we want to get away from race doesn't matter, it always matters.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
does.
because people see color, unfortunately.
Yeah, they do.
So what are some of the things that you want to do, you know, inside the community? What is your number one thing that you feel like will change the community if you're a councilman?
But the number one thing, I would have to connect the two sides. I would have to get rid of the North and South Collinwood thing, because I think that's the biggest issue for us. Like, people are comfortable with being disconnected. Like, you just stay over there and we just stay over here. But actually, that's hurting the community, because if we don't never get in the same space to talk about the issues,
Right.
they never get solved. It's always, you know, we got the black issues and the white issues instead of just a Collinwood issue.
Okay.
So that's why I think that's where, if I connect the people together, get them all in the same space, because right now we having 8 or 9 community meetings a month, which
Okay.
is,
You think it's a waste of time?
no, it's a plan to divide. Like, the councilman, because he the one that it means, it's a plan to, like, keep people separate. Like, we're going to have a 140th Street meeting, 152nd Street meeting, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep the black people meeting with each other, and we're going to keep the white people meeting with each other. So we never get the chance to have a 185th meeting
Got
with the
you.
people 140th in the same space. So you keep them separate. So
How would you change that, though? Because I know you said you want to keep them together.
Yeah.
How?
I would get rid of some of the meetings. It wouldn't be 1,000 meetings. It wouldn't be a 140th Street meeting. It would be a Collinwood meeting.
Okay.
Only meeting I probably would have like a home association meeting.
Okay.
But it would be one community meeting. I wouldn't have all these different community meetings because to me that's pointless.
Right.
Because you're not getting everybody in the same space to hash out and talk about the real issues. They talking about their own personal issues. So somebody on the north side of Collinwood might be focused on crime. Somebody on the south side we don't see that crime. So I may be focused on cracks in the sidewalk.
Right.
So we need to, connect them in the same space so they can understand, like, we are one Collinwood. This is one community. It's not two different communities. So that'd be the biggest thing I'll do. And probably the next thing I'll do, I would try to get to these schools, 'cause I'm big on education and understanding that, the kids are the future of our world. So if you get a good grasp of them early, I think we can create good, productive citizens in our community. And that's what it's all about, you know. Like, my son was on a Zoom thing today for class, and they were teaching about the Constitution.
Yeah.
Like, it took everything out of me not to just say, look, hold up, stop. Like,
Right.
Are we going to tell the truth, or are we going to keep lying? You know what I mean?
So
So I had to have my wife, like, after the class got done, I had to speak to the class because, like, we can't. And I'm seeing, like, this 2021, and they teaching our kids in the black community lies still to this day.
Yeah.
Like, to this day, this morning, I heard a whole bunch of lies. And I was like, wow, like, so things like that. We need to put people in schools that look like us in our community that, care about our children. Like, right now, we see with the Capitol, we had a woman that was on a Ohio school board playing the trip.
Yeah.
So that lets you know that white supremacy is all in Ohio schools.
Yeah.
The woman.
It's everywhere. It's embedded in everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, like the teacher got fired. I mean, she was up at the Capitol like this, and she worked with special needs students in the inner city. She get paid the most money.
Yeah.
So we let the white supremacists come down and teach our special needs
Oh,
kids.
it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's on a whole different pocket when we're talking about education.
Yeah.
And as far as just the amount of teachers that are teaching their own in their own community, but that's a whole different pocket. I kind of want to get into your Aunt Betty for a second here.
Yes.
Talk about the connection with Aunt Betty and how that really fueled you to being, want to do things for the community.
Well, I just grew up. She had a community center that was opened up in the late 60s, early 70s.
Okay.
So it just, when I came along, it just taught me how to, that, how can I say that? The community was the biggest thing. That, you know what I'm saying? That it really do takes a village. That, like, when you help people, it gives you a certain type of blessings. Like, I saw the way she helped people, and I saw the way, people, like, looked out for her and, did different things. So in the community, that's what we need. That's what we've been lacking. Like, we don't have a community center over there. We got a rec center, but we don't have a community center that really get down to the nitty-gritty issues,
So what's the difference between a community center and a rec center?
The rec center is ran by the city of Cleveland, and the community center can be ran by individual, nonprofit, or anybody want to start a community center. But as far as with it, like, it's really a city building. So they got different rules and regulations they have to abide by through the city. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like trauma, like, I believe trauma is one of our biggest issues in the schools right now. So I believe every ward should have a trauma center for that aspect, for kids to go talk to somebody. Understand that, like, they want the kids to say, stop the crime, stop shooting, but it's actually, like, trauma that they're going through. Like, if you see 4 or 5 of your friends get killed, you're going to be traumatized.
Is that really happening, though?
Yes, it's really happening.
So, because I feel like you said, on one end you said, we don't have crime. He talks about there's a lot of crime.
No, I'm just talking about in
general. Okay, so you're not. So let's make sure we preface that.
Right,
We're not talking about in your ward.
Not my ward.
Let's go. In your ward, we're just saying in general.
In general, like the whole city, the murder rate was, at an all-time high this past year. So it's just like, and when you, like I said, when you dig into the nitty-gritty and understand, like, that the youth is going through, it's trauma.
Yeah.
Listen to the rap, listen to the songs. Everything they're going through is trauma. They've been seeing their friends shot, killed, stabbed, anything like that, or even with the family issues, the hunger issues, the not having clothes, molestation, everything.
It's a lot.
Everything is like, it's a lot, and they never get a chance to talk to anybody.
Right.
So they've been holding this trauma in for so long. Once they reach a peak, they just explode.
They explode.
They explode.
And it's so many different directions that they're being targeted. Like you said, the food, the music, their household, and so it creates that mentality. And I realize this is something that goes on across the United States of America. Yeah. Why does every hood have the same components in it? Yeah. You have the check cashing place, you have the liquor store, you have, why across America, why do all the same hood have those components for destruction? So what are you going to do to kind of clear some of that out? Because I know the Collinwood area, you have the check cashing places, you have the liquor stores, you have, there are some things that in the blacker side or melanated side that it doesn't serve us. How can you change that?
With just community development, I think there's enough people in the community in Collinwood that want to have business, that want to, be somebody, progress, and do things. They just haven't had the opportunity to.
Why not?
I mean, because our CDC in our community has been diminished. It's been, you know, corrupt for 15, 20 years now. You know, we probably the only community that had 2 CDCs, that both of them failed. People went to jail behind
The CDC being?
the Community Development Corporation.
Okay.
So they're like the middleman as far as like getting, you know, houses in the community, business community, putting on different events for the community, things like that. And our councilman has turned our CDC to the ground. Like we had investigations in jail and people been doing fair time behind our CDC. So that hurts the community.
Wow.
You know, that hurts the community because that's money being stole. That's been going to community projects. It's just gone now. Ain't nobody for the answer for it. You know, just like I don't know. It's weird.
So that seems to go on a lot where, you know, monies are being, you know, unappropriated in the community. And you said, so there's 17 different wards. Out of the 17 different wards, what is it a diverse set of people in those different wards? Do those wards reflect the people that live there?
No.
Okay.
Not because actually, if we really break it down, like Cleveland is really an African American city. It's a city of color, and our leadership don't look like it from the top down. You know, even with the police force, if our population is over 60% African American, how can the police force be 70% Caucasian? Doesn't make sense. Even with the fire department, like it don't like. So what they're telling us that we're not qualified to be in these positions because obviously we're the majority of the city. So
right.
How can we be the majority of the city?
But we're not governing our own self.
No, we're not.
Yeah,
we're not.
so that's definitely.
We're allowing them to do it. So then, you know, we got a black mayor, you got a black police chief, so that's always the pacified thing where, you know, the black police chief is cool with it, so it's a go. But I'm like, no, it's not. It's just a system that he just don't want to break, or they just don't want to break, or scared to break. You know, we need young, new leadership that's really ready to stand up against all lies.
All lies. So I want to ask you really quickly, how has the election affected your campaign? You know, will we have, you know, a new president, a new vice president? Everyone's, you know, excited about her being, you know, black or melanated. How has that affected your campaign?
It has a lot. I don't know how to say it, but we have a lot of black new females that want to potentially run in the community.
Okay.
And I think it's great. You know, I commend, you know, what they try to do, but it's like, with me, it's like, where have you been? Like.
Okay, so you kind of feel like all of a sudden they were nowhere. You ran the first time, and now it's like this new blood, this kind of coming on the scene.
Like,
okay.
I had a couple of conversations with some of the people that's running new. It's just like, you know, the whole thing, what have you done for the community? Like, where have you been at? Like, what can you say you done for Collinwood? What have you brought to the community? You know what I'm saying? So it's like.
Have you spoken to them?
Yes, I spoke to everybody that's running for city council in my ward. I'm having a conversation with them because, you know, I've been putting up together a movement, and for you to hop in a race and be a nobody or nobody know you right now, you're kind of like in the way.
Why do you feel that way?
Because
when you spoke to them, what did they say?
Well, one lady told me that the white people paid her to run against me because they didn't like my demeanor. They said they wanted me to be like more Obama. I wasn't the Obama type. I didn't, you know. I wasn't that guy. I was more of an activist. I was more of a radical type of person. And they wanted somebody to be more like that. So they asked her to run, and she ran.
So what does that do to the vote?
Well, it splits the black votes up, first of all, and then it makes black people have to vote twice.
What do you mean?
Well, last time I ran, we didn't have a primary. It's a primary election, then a general election. When you got more than 3 people running in a primary, you got to go to the general election. So last time I just had it just was me and him out the gate.
Right.
So we went straight to the general election.
Right.
Now with all these people getting in, you got to go to the primary. So they know what the numbers is. The numbers say, you know, that black people fall off almost 40% from the primary to the general. So it's just about, you know, we call it a political plan.
So all you got to do is work harder.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's all?
But with the COVID, it's kind of hard to do that, too.
It's hard to do what? To work harder?
I mean, get out there and knock on doors because there's so many rules and regulations as far as, you know, what you can and what you can't do. Like, I can't hold events right now.
But that's why we have the Thursday effect, baby. You know what I mean? It's so I think when we look at it in the form of knocking on doors and in that thought process, this almost kind of, I wouldn't say aged, but the reason why, if we want to speak about Obama, was so influential and reason why he, you know, won by so much because he looked at politics differently. He went to social media. He went to those avenues. So I would just, kind of encourage you to kind of think outside the box, because sometimes what you think is an obstacle is actually an opportunity.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I think that's more of an opportunity for you to step it up a notch from your previous campaign. So when you were at your previous campaign and you didn't win, how did that make you feel?
I felt good, honestly.
Okay.
I felt good.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, my spirits didn't get down. I didn't cry. I didn't, go
Yeah.
soaking. I got going to sabbatical or anything like that. I just, I was ready to put the work in. Like, I knew it was going to be hard being a guy that been there 40 years. I
Right.
mean, he's the longest. I mean, that's a record he's setting. You know what I mean? So it's like, I
40
knew
years.
it was going to be hard, and I probably knew then that it was. I would probably have to run more than one time, just because I was so new to politics.
Yeah.
And had the relationships, and then people really knew who I was, or people knew who I was, but I just wasn't in that space as a politician. I'm just a community activist. I'm just
Right.
doing things like that for the community. But yeah, I wasn't hurt or crushed at all.
Yeah.
Like, nah.
I'm loving to see that. I'm loving seeing this movement with seeing us melanated people really getting out there running for councilmen and doing their thing. So what are some of the things that you have coming up that the people can, see what you're doing, be involved? I know sometimes you have fish fries, you give away toys, you just all in the community.
Yeah.
What's next?
I don't know. Like, it's hard right now because of the COVID.
Because of the COVID.
Like, it's just so hard right now. So right now we're actually trying to put together virtual things, doing Zooms and things like that. But that's
yeah.
still hard too, because it's so
Difficult.
hard to like get
Yeah.
actually people from the community to connect with. Like, I can do a Zoom and have a lot of people there, but are they from the community? So you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like we're trying to touch the community right now. So we plan on things. I have a website coming out
Okay.
at the beginning of March.
Awesome.
I got some merchandise dropping. I got a lot of things coming up. I got
Yeah.
a video too coming up. So I got things in the plan. Just trying to figure out like how to do it in a creative space. Like how to do it without getting fined, because that's what they're doing now. They fine you for COVID things to political people.
Oh, political people.
Yeah, like they like literally don't want you knocking on doors. Like
Really?
the 6 feet thing is real. Yeah, like so we had to get 200 signatures to get on the ballot, even to run the city council.
Right.
So right now, getting them 200 signatures, it's not as easy as it was last time. 'Cause last year I just knocked on your door, hey, I'm Donald Boyd, I'm city council, and I was like,
Is there an electric signature you can kind of establish to have people? You can't have them electrically signed. It has to be a physical signature.
Yeah. And then it's weird, like, even with that, I would thought that if it's a pandemic, that you would at least take the number of the amount of signatures you have to get down because of the pandemic. They didn't do that, but it's they want to keep the incumbent in. Like, that's the whole plan. Like, I see other cities throughout the country did that. It was like, well, you had to get 400 signatures, but now since the pandemic, we got to get 250.
They haven't did it here.
Not Cleveland, no. You're going to get the same amount you're going to get.
What's your deadline to get the signatures?
On June 21st.
June 21st.
July 21st, I'm sorry.
July 21st. And how many do you have about approximately signatures right now?
I got about 100 right now.
Okay. So we got some that's there. We halfway there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. So we're going to want to wrap things up. But I want to piggyback on when you were saying you were receiving death threats. How did that affect your children?
It affected my son in a It affected my son in a way after the Nipsey Hussle thing, because he was big on far as
I
like,
see you got the Crenshaw shirt on. Represent real quick. I was just there.
Yeah,
I was just on Crenshaw. It's real. But,
yeah.
okay, yeah. So after the Nipsey Hussle thing, they kind of got scared.
Yeah, my son, like, after he passed, my son was like, Dad, like, just go back to being a chef. So I was like, what you mean? Why? Why would I go back to being a chef? He's like, because, like, Nip was doing great things for the community, and they killed him.
Wow.
So I don't want
scary.
you to die. So I'm like, Dad, So I had to, like, that's why I had to sit him down. My daughter, she's 5, so she don't really know. But my son, he was like, I feel like, no, like, this is what being a man is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to stand for something in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, it may be hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a possibility you might lose me or something might happen to me. But I just want you to know that, it was for a good cause. That, you know what I'm saying? It was for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, like that, it wasn't because I was out here thugging a gang banging.
Yeah.
It's because I was trying to create change.
Right.
So
right. That's beautiful.
I can accept death behind, trying to create change.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
They say a coward dies 1,000 deaths. You know what I mean? But a true victor only dies once.
Yeah.
So that's courageous that you taught your son to overcome fear and still move in purpose regardless. And I think that that's what they would like. They like to do that to us. Put fear, oh, let's kill him, or murder her, and put fear in us so we can stop the movement. And the movement is not ever going to stop.
No,
the marathon will continue. Okay,
yeah.
so we're going to wrap up. Thank you again so much for joining us here on the Thursday Effect. Again, we have Donald Boyd. Tell them where they can find you at, your IG, your Instagram.
Donald E. Boyd is my Instagram. Facebook, Donald Boyd. The hashtag Boyd for Ward 8. Just follow me. You'll get to see a real down-to-earth person.
Yeah.
A real family man, father, husband, and somebody just care about the community and care about the city of Cleveland.
Definitely for the people. So with your campaign, I know there's always some funding that needs to be done. So what's your Cash App in case you guys want to fund his campaign?
Cash App is $Boyd for Ward 8, BOYD, the number 4, WARD 8. The number 8.
The number 8.
Yeah, Boyd for Ward 8.
Boyd for Ward 8. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on the Thursday Effect, where we talk about people who are passionate and the effect they have on the world. Until next time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.